something about testing. Hi, my name's Gabrielle. I'm a nursing gaps practitioner, and I'm going to speak from my experience as a nurse, as well as my experience as a natural medicine, food as medicine practitioner. So in nursing school, we are told, question your doctors. When they order a bunch of tests, ask them, because in today's day and age, there's a bunch of brand new tests that all came out. If you just go back 20 years, an MRI was like, ooh, what is that? Only in the most crazy circumstance would you even bother to try that crazy test that's so expensive. Now everyone gets MRIs at the drop of the hat for any little thing. So it's very interesting. Not to mention, there's been an incredible boom in blood tests. This is a huge industry, and the more they come up with new blood tests, the more they're being ordered, and they're coming out so quickly that there's not really a process or a rhythm or a history of considering, why are we doing this test? And if this test comes back, yes, is that so? If the test comes back this way, what does that mean? If the test comes back that way, what does that mean? Not just what does it mean, but what does it mean practically? Like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna actually give a different treatment? This treatment or that treatment, depending on the result of the test? Because if the treatment is the same, then why are we doing the test? Right, Hosanna? So the same applies for a lot of natural testing as well. And I like to encourage my clients, for some people, testing is needed because of a desire to know an answer. And if you feel like you don't have the mental energy or the motivation to study or to have a practitioner explain to you the pathology of what's going on in your body, or if you're not very in touch with your body and you don't notice when you're hungry or you're tired or you feel sick to your stomach, you're just like out of touch with it. A lot of us are, and so you don't trust it. Or if you just are so set in your ways and are kind of in like denial mode, or have family members that are in denial mode or not in touch with their bodies, and just like very ingrained in the Western culture and how we do what we consider healthy or unhealthy, what we consider, normal. That, yeah, these are reasons to do testing. Basically to convince yourself something is wrong enough that I need to make a change. And to convince those around me, yes, it's true, I definitely need to make a change. But if those things are not present, I like to explain to people, you can tell when someone is not well. You can look at them and assess their situation, and if you're trained as an EMT or a nurse, or they should teach this in doctor school, they do, but most people lose the skill over time just because of the timetables and the speediness of the way it works once you get out of doctor school. But you can look at a patient and know what's going on. There are assessment skills that are not taught in nursing school or in Western medicine that are just as revelatory, and they're simple. They're things that even a common person walking down the street could know. Like if you walk by someone in the street, walking down the street, and they have big bags under their eyes, you know they're not feeling well. Maybe they didn't sleep, maybe they went on a binge, maybe they're addicted, maybe they're nutritionally deficient, but it's a sign that their liver, their adrenals are exhausted. And that's just one simple thing. Different kinds of puffiness around your eyes, different, if your nails are brittle, if your feet smell, if your breath smells, if your tongue looks a certain way. These are all signs that something is not right. And these tests are free. If you have a practitioner who is experienced and can recognize these things, they're not diseases in and of themselves. Brittle nails is not a disease, but it is a red flag that our bodies naturally manifest to be a little warning sign, like, hey there, I'm not doing so hot. Dry lips is another one. Your lips are dry and cracked. If your eyes are dry and burning, there's so many different things, I can't even begin. But I'm not trained in all of these areas, but I'm trained in some. And I would love to train in more. But all that to say, testing, is it useful? Sometimes. Is it overused? Many times. Are there tests that are free / non-invasive? Absolutely. Just looking at your nails, looking at your capillary refill, looking at, some of these physical assessment pieces can tell you everything you need to know. More likely than not, in most cases. And what else did I want to say about tests? Oh, lately I have learned that, although blood tests are super cool and they can tell you a lot of interesting things, like, is your baby a boy or a girl? Like, that's super amazing. Depending on what kind of blood test you're taking, your blood levels can really go way up and way down within a day, within several days. Yeah, especially when your body is going through a change of some kind, and your blood pressure can go up, can go down, your thyroid levels can go up, can go down. And I have learned that there's this type of testing, it's kind of new, but it's based on a totally different approach. It's not a blood test. Basically, they do hair and nail sample and saliva sometimes, and it's called bioresonance testing. And this is what I started to do, with my family and offering it to my clients as well. Oh, you got my earring. Because it is super accurate. It's kind of crazy how accurate it is. And I love the way they give so much information from just one report. So I really like it. So depending on what your situation is, it may make sense to do a test. If you do feel like all the reasons before I listed are a good reason to do some testing, I recommend checking out Bioresonance. If that's not your thing, if you're like, I really believe that blood test is more accurate, then go with a blood test, because the purpose of a test is to convince yourself, yes, I need to make a step. So whatever floats your boat, do that. I'm sure something will come up. But honestly, with a lot of us with chronic conditions like I had, I took a ton of blood tests, and even like a breath test, like a bunch of extra new tests for celiac and all this kind of stuff, and they all came back fine. And it's really frustrating when you feel in your body, I am not fine. I am the opposite of fine. And so in those cases, go to a bioresonance test. Or if you want to save some money, you can skip over the blood test and go straight to the bioresonance test. Highly recommend it. If you don't feel fine, I guarantee something will show up not fine on your bioresonance test, and it will highlight which area of the body is being stressed, which is cool to know. It can direct how you approach, different extra secondary supportive measures. But the truth is that the first line of defense is very similar for a lot of different problems. If your thyroid is struggling, if your liver is struggling, if your skin is a wreck, all of these things, if you're really chronically fatigued, all of these things, your kidneys, anything, the first line of defense is the same. We want to detox the body and we want to nourish the body. And so everything else is secondary to that, and so I wouldn't focus so much on the secondary herbal supplements, homeopathic remedies, all these extra fancy stuff if you haven't done the first line, which is food. So anyway, that's all. That's a bit of a tangent at the end, but I just wanted to talk about testing. And even food sensitivity testing, even if it's a bioresonance food sensitivity test, I gotta say that sometimes people take the test more seriously than their own feelings. Like, oh, the test says I'm fine, even though I feel sick, I'm fine. Or, oh, the test says I'm sensitive to dairy, even though when I drink my raw milk that I cultured for 24 hours, I feel fine. They believe the test. And trust your body, man. Trust your instincts. You know, God gave us neurons and that sense when things are wrong and sense when things are right for a reason. And do they work all the time? No, sometimes they don't work so well. But as much as you can have more bodily awareness, use it. And this is why it's good to work with a practitioner, because sometimes the foods that people come up as sensitive to, they're sensitive to the processed form of that food, very likely, but probably, potentially not sensitive to the unprocessed version of that food, or the soy-free, grain-fed chicken egg version of that food, the raw milk, 24-hour cultured version of that food. So, yeah. All that to say, that's my spiel on testing. So if you are interested in bioresonance testing and you want to just get like, people love to do like 23&me, and they pay big money just to see like, what is my DNA? How accurate is it? I don't know. What do you get out of it? What are you going to change about your life afterwards? I'm not sure. If you want to do something similar but different and do a bioresonance test, you could get, like, here's how my organs are doing. This one's kind of stressed. This one's doing pretty good. Ooh, so interesting. And it is interesting, and it's also something you could act upon if you so choose. So if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out to me. Or if you're interested in working with a practitioner to work on some food, or if you have questions and ideas about future videos, comment below. I would love to be in conversation about this. So have a lovely day. Bye.